Hey folks, walk with me. Well, a question came in, and the basic gist was, I think this person let it out there that they're in their 30s. That is sort of irrelevant for this, but I do think there's probably a lot of truth, or people feel a lot of truth in the sense that time moves at a certain pace when you're a teenager, another pace in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, so on. So, to that extent, sure, we can acknowledge that. But the basic gist of it was, I'm in my 30s, time's all of a sudden moving so fast. Is there a way to slow it down? And I think my answer would be yes. Time moving fast, like the sense that time is moving fast, is a perception, right? You're perceiving the same time that you've always had as suddenly, somehow, pacing itself differently. And so in this concept is your perception, right? It is your stake in what's happening. And so certainly I would say you could make adjustments to that. Now, I think it depends why. What's causing the shift in perception? Could it be just this sort of solely being based on you getting older? Maybe. I think there's a lot to this idea that each day, the more days that you've lived, each day is now suddenly a shorter or smaller percentage of the overall time that you've spent on Earth. Apologies for the car alarm. And so, a skew there, right? A baby that's 2 days old, that day feels like 50% of its life on that second day. But you stretch that out and things start to get very quick seeming as you age. And so if it is purely an age-based thing, I think that going deeper, something that you can sort of cultivate as you get older. I mean, you could do it at any time, but if this is sort of like where the struggle is coming from, something you can certainly cultivate is this idea of, instead of just letting something be a superficial or a passing moment, you can go deeper into it. You can linger on it. For instance, if you're going for a walk, you can do a walking meditation, or you can do mindful walking, where you are thinking something on your in-breath, something on your out-breath. You can always think about coming home to yourself and your body, right? And that can help sort of ground you. And sometimes that groundedness takes you out of the cognitive roller coaster that people often have going in their heads or in their emotions, where the roller coaster aspect of it can start to feel very just fast-paced. And so doing a simple mindfulness activity along the lines of I have arrived, I am home, right? On your in-breath, I have arrived. On your out-breath, I am home. And the concept here simply being that you're acknowledging that your home is wherever you are, because your home is your body. And so grounding yourself in that and attuning yourself to the ins and outs of the breath can help certainly slow time down. Finding a verse to say to yourself when you're doing something incredibly mundane, like washing the dishes, brushing your teeth, something you do every day, so it will always sort of be there, but that you can draw it out by going deeper into it. There's actually a great book by Thich Nhat Hanh called Present Moment, Wonderful Moment. It can be kind of hard to find, but I actually found it in a neighboring town's library and requested it, and they sent it to my library, where I then was able to pick it up. But that's actually a very good book that has all of these verses for mundane, sort of modern day things. So that would be my sort of starting place. going deeper and attuning yourself more sort of preciously to whatever that present moment is, especially the present moments that feel mundane and repetitive. And those often go hand in hand, right? The repetitive often seems mundane, and the mundane is often so because it has to be repeated frequently. So that would be, my go-to, my place to go to in terms of trying to slow things down. The other thing that does come to mind, and I did a video about this earlier on, but I don't recall what the title is on this playlist. I think it's like, do just this one thing or something like that. And I will often think to myself, if I feel that my mind is scattered, feel that I'm having a hard time keeping focus or whatever it is, any of those sort of like modern day, like people have too short of an attention span kind of things, anything that accompanies that and sort of affects you, I will sort of whatever I'm doing, washing the dishes again, I will simply think to myself as I'm washing the dishes, I am simply washing the dishes right now. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm simply washing the dishes right now. Nothing more, nothing less. I do this especially if I'm going into another room to find something. Because often what will happen, if I don't, is I'll go in that other room and I'll go, what did I come in here for? Oh, God. And I'll stand there, and I won't think of it. And so if I'm going into the kitchen to take a medication, and I'm coming from upstairs, I'll say, taking medication, going to the kitchen, taking medication, going to the kitchen. And I will only do that until that is complete. That has helped immensely. But it does also have inborn in it this sense of slowing down time, because that scattered, chaotic mind, that squirrel kind of thing, that attention deficit that people can have, I think that can make it feel like there's so much happening. And when it feels like there's so much happening, then it can also sort of very easily tip the scale toward, it's all happening so fast. Well, it's just because you're thinking of a day's worth of things or a month's worth of things in the course of 10 seconds or 10 minutes or whatever it is, right? You're compressing that down into some incredibly small time frame and not letting it sort of occupy all of the time space that it could or it should. And so focusing on that one thing, I think, can actually be quite helpful. This playlist doesn't get a ton of hits or views or whatever, but that was actually a video that I was kind of surprised that it got, I think, at least triple digit views or something like that, which at that time, and actually also at this time, is sort of like, oh, it's one of the more popular videos on this playlist. So maybe that did resonate with some folks, I'm not sure. But that's another thing that I would maybe consider. And certainly no reason that you can't do both, right? So, all right, folks. Well, if you watched or walked with me this far, I certainly appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next video.